In March 2018, when I was 12 years old and in 7th grade, I used to listen to and read online scary stories, including ones about sleep paralysis. Little did I know that I would soon experience it myself. That night, I had a strange dream about playing Counter-Strike, but suddenly found myself on the main road leading to my neighborhood. The road had disappeared and the houses were much smaller with elderly people standing outside, all reading newspapers. I then found myself at my morning bus stop where a bush screamed at me. I screamed back and we went back and forth until I woke up with the scream ringing in my ears. I couldn't move and it took me a while to realize that I was experiencing sleep paralysis. After a few minutes of lying still and not hearing anything, I heard heavy footsteps outside of my bedroom. I remembered that my dad was out of town, leaving only me, my mom, and my 7-year-old brother at home. The footsteps grew closer and I heard them coming towards my bedroom area. The door opened and whatever was out there came in, walked to the side of my bed, and stared at me. I closed my eyes and just started to pray. After what felt like hours, I tried to turn over to see if anyone was there, but kept my eyes closed to pretend I was still asleep. I waited until the coast was clear, then slowly crawled out of my bed and checked the clock, 4:14 a.m. Worried about school the next day, I quietly grabbed a decorative ore from my room and walked out into the hall. I found the living room light on and checked the bathroom but found no one there. I then woke up my mom, telling her that I heard footsteps and someone may be in the house. We searched the house with the ore but found no one. Although it wasn't a pleasant experience, I was relieved that it wasn't worse and that we were safe. Just to clarify, I have a history of experiencing sleep paralysis since I was a child, with multiple occurrences in a single night. I am an 18-year-old male who has been living independently from my mother for the past 2 years, and I currently share a living space with my uncle. This particular incident took place on September 25th, 2018, after I woke up at 5 a.m. and started listening to scary stories with my headphones on in an attempt to fall back asleep. As I began drifting off, I became aware of waking up but found that I was unable to move my body. This sensation was strange for me since I had not experienced sleep paralysis for a very long time. My vision started to blur and my head felt heavy, but I could still hear the voice from my headphones narrating a story. I managed to move my hand to remove the earbuds, but I couldn't get them off. It was as if they were glued to my ears. Eventually, I was able to remove them, but to my surprise, I could still hear the voice. I checked my ears to see if there was anything there, but there wasn't. I tried calling out to my uncle, but my voice was weak, and it seemed like I was whispering loudly instead of yelling. I began to see demonic and deformed faces flashing on the ceiling, which frightened me. I can't describe what they looked like, but they were staring at me with evil smiles. Feeling unnerved, I did what any young person would do and hid under my blanket, hoping that the faces would go away. As my vision cleared and I regained movement, I realized that I had not moved a muscle during the entire episode. It turned out that I had been hallucinating and imagining that I was moving and yelling. I have experienced sleep paralysis many times before, but this one was one of those times I had experienced hallucinations and imagined things. I've never really talked about this before, but the strange occurrences began 3 years ago when I was talking to a girl named Natalie. She lived in an older house and had the entire basement to herself. She often spoke of her belief that the house was haunted, but I didn't take it seriously until one night when my friend Nick and I stayed over. Nick was lying on the couch staring blankly at the wall, and I assumed he was just messing around. However, he didn't respond when I called his name, and it took him a full minute to snap out of it and jump off the couch. Things got even stranger when I walked towards the screen door in Natalie's room that opened outside, and every light in the room, including the outlets, suddenly blew out, leaving us in complete darkness. We tried everything, but only the lamp next to Nick's head would work. Later that night, Natalie became agitated over little things and wouldn't let me sleep in her bed. I ended up sleeping on the floor, but I couldn't fall asleep and felt paralyzed. As I laid there, I experienced sleep paralysis and felt as though someone was holding me down and shocking my body. I tried to move my arm to wake Nick, but I couldn't. I began to say the Our Father prayer in my head, and each time I did, the entity holding me down would stop halfway through. It took me months to recover from this experience, and I even slept in the same room as my mom for a while. Fast forward 2 years, and I now live in a new house. One night, when my aunt was visiting, I heard strange noises while playing video games. I ignored it at first, but when I heard it again, I took off my gaming headset to listen. I then heard a strange noise next to me, which scared me. I went to my mom, who thought it was just a sprinkler system. But as I stood in the hallway waiting for her to come back, I heard a loud "hoo" in my ear. It frightened me so much that I ran outside crying. I've experienced sleep paralysis and the presence of a woman in my room since then, but nothing as intense as the first sight at Natalie's house. Thank you guys so much for watching until the end. If you have any criticism, please leave it in the comments. Also, make sure you smash that subscribe button if you want more scary content just like this.